Okay, continuing where we left off, we created a listing type as well as the property type. We explained that these need to be separate types because a property can be in multiple listings, and a listing has other information that's not the same for every property. Like a listing has a price, it also has the location as well. Okay, so let's go through what is in a listing. It has a location. Location we're going to call text. And the way we're going to map this out later on is we're going to have certain areas on the website that have different IDs, and these are going to be text fields. And what we're going to do is we're going to say, well, on this particular location of the website, for example, the home page is going to have ID home, maybe, or whatever ID we want to create it. And whenever someone creates a listing and they select home as the location they want to show their listing on, well, then the ID is going to match, and it's going to say home, and then it's going to say on this particular page for home, for example, it's going to say show a listing that's active and that's choice is home, for example. And we'll map out other things as well later on. Like I'm going to explain how do we keep track of how many placements we have available, and are we going to adjust prices and other things. We'll talk about that later, but let's get back to the data real quick in here in data types. So there's a location. There's also going to be a start date and end date. So start date is the date that the ad is published. So we'll just call this publish date. That's easy to remember. And that's going to be a date. And there's going to be a finish date. Let's just call it end date. Closing date, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it closing date. That's the date that the ad is no longer going to be visible. Okay, and then we're going to create another type, which is called lead. And the reason we're creating another type is because we know that people are going to be coming onto this website. They're going to fill out forms with their name, email, and other information. And we want to make sure that we're recording that and then transferring it to the relevant listing. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Well, let's go back to our example on, where is it? Right in here. So we're going to click on I'm going to open and look in a tab. Click on a particular listing and let's see, what do we have? What's available for us to see? So there's a name, phone, email, and message. And we're basically just going to copy that sort of framework of name, phone, email, and message. So, okay, so name, going back to this section here is text. There's going to be a phone number and phone number. We're just going to set that up as text. And there's going to be a note, which is text. There's also going to be an email, which is text. And I think that's everything. Okay, so there's our lead. Now going back to the listing, a listing can have multiple leads. So we're going to have a field name leads. It's going to be of the type lead. Select this field as a list. Okay, it has leads. It's just a list of leads. Awesome. So we're off to a really good start right in here. The other thing that we're going to have is the payments. So payments, we're going to track those directly on the website as well. So we might as well, we'll add that type in just a moment, but let's just say we know the listing has a particular price point. So we'll just call it price points. Sure, just price. That's fine. And then we know every time a lead is generated, a price, as well as, let's say, ceiling. We're going to have a ceiling as well. So the way I'm thinking about this is what does it mean by ceiling? So what we have here is that someone sets an initial price. We'll just call this the listing. Actually, we're going to call this listing price. Okay. So someone pays a flat fee to be on a particular part of the website to us, right to our bank. Awesome. We already made some money. Sweet. Well, they're also, as we know, we're going to be paying per lead that we send to them. So we need to choose a price point for that. And we need to say, well, how do we know? Are we just going to charge them an infinite amount of money? What if they have a constrained budget? Are we just going to, if they get a bunch of leads, and how do we know the quality of leads, et cetera, that kind of thing? Well, here's the thing. So we're going to set a ceiling on the number of leads that they can fill out. We're going to add in one other thing as well when we're back to this lead. So this lead is going to have a status associated with it. So what that means is that, and that's just going to be, we're just going to call it text. By default, it's going to be, we're going to call this, we'll say active, or we'll say valid, right? So for example, if someone else comes in and they find out that that's, hey, I didn't know that our competitors are paying per lead. Let's just fill out this form over and over again and charge our competitor money. You know, it's a really messed up thing. It can happen sometimes in Google ads where people click their competitor a bunch of times, and it's basically fraud. So we're going to have the ability to contest that. It's a little more advanced, not super essential to our core functionality, but it's something that we'll keep in mind from the beginning to keep track of. So we have in here this valid status, and we'll later create some things where people can contest those number of leads, or contest a particular lead. But basically, we're charging them for valid leads that they receive. And so there's going to be a ceiling, as in like a maximum budget they can spend in that period of time. So we're going to call this lead ceiling, lead budget. Yeah, say that, lead budget, which is a number. And they'll set a maximum amount they're willing to spend on their leads that they can adjust. And once they've received, for example, if we charge them $10 per lead, well, once they received, say if their monthly budget is $500, they've received 50 leads. Their ad's gonna end, and we're gonna show someone else's ad, or it's gonna be empty space on the site. Awesome. So hope that makes sense so far, guys. We got a pretty solid base here for our database. Now let's go back to our design tab and add some more things to the website. Let's go back to our example page in here. See, what do we want to add next? Well, next we're going to add this section down in here. So we're going to have we're going to have a hot offers, a new offers section. Let's go ahead and create a feature. We're going to call this like this. We're going to draw out a piece of text. We're going to say featured apartments for rent, featured apartments for, we're just going to list each of these different types, and there's going to be features for them. So apartments for rent, we'll say, say featured rental apartments, and remove the style, adjust this, bring up this size to like 19. That's pretty good size. Okay, so center this horizontally, bring that up a little bit, make that fixed width. Okay, left click, copy, right, left click again, paste, and bring this down. Let's also double click on the page so it should say index for you. And we're gonna adjust the height of this to 2000, so 2231, so double check that I am recording still. Yes, I am, awesome. Okay, so bring this down, and this is going to be featured apartments for sale. Featured apartments for sale. And again, going down, we have another section in here, which is going to be featured houses for rent. And finally, one more section for featured houses for sale. Coming on down, about right there, that's good. Houses for sale. Okay, great, that's off, that's a great start. Now, what else are we gonna add in here? So we're gonna add this thing called a repeating group. So the way a repeating group works is it's going to display a list of information on our website, and that's basically objects in the database. So what we want to display is we're going to choose type of content listing or data source. We're going to make this, okay, so first of all, let's change this to fixed number of cells. Let's change the rows to 1. Let's change the columns to, how many columns? So there's 4 examples in here. Our site is going to list 4 properties in each section in the featured area. We can adjust this later, like having this functionality where it scrolls. That's something that we can do. It just takes a little while to build and program, and it's not our primary focus. So we'll build that later on after we build other parts of the site. Okay, listing, do a search for, a listing, and the location, let's say location is equal to, we're just going to say home. We'll set that as a home, for example. So, okay, location is on the home page. And then let's just say that's all fine. Let's just leave that alone. And we want to go over to here, click on this, click on more, click on filtered, and add a new constraint. And what we want to say is go down to advanced. We say this listings. Okay, this listings properties, property type is, now here's where I just want to make sure we get this, we set this right. So apartment, rent, apartment sale. Well, we're going to use this time. So apartments, rent. Yeah. So, I'll just say apartment for rent. Yeah, we'll call it like that. So apartment for rent. Okay. Then it's going to display here. The next thing we're going to do is, let's just drag this out even more. Whoa. Dang it. Stupid mouse is malfunctioning there for a sec. Okay. Get rid of this separate. Well, then we'll leave the separator in there for just a little bit longer. Well, actually, why don't we move this down to 3? 3 is a better, 3 is a better size. So awesome. Click on image, drag the image out on the page, and here's where we're going to click on insert dynamic data, current sales listings, properties, main image, and we will display that main image there. Okay. Let's drag it out a little bit, left click, center horizontally. Let me take a look at theirs again. Okay, so let's go in here. Let's click on remove the style of the standard image, make a roundness of like 4. Okay. And let's actually bring this up a little bit as well. So make this a little tighter. Left click, center vertically. Bring this up a little bit more. And go down to text again. And actually, let's copy this text right here. So click on copy. Left click on delete. Click delete. Okay. Bring that into here. Whoops. There we go. Okay, so we copied this Mikola real estate text, move this into here. So what we're doing in here is we're editing a single cell, and we're creating the format for every subsequent cell. In this example, we're only going to have three apartments in our list. So let's edit this again. Let's change this size to 26. And let's say this is going to be current sales listings, properties, title. That's pretty good. Yeah, so property title right there. Bring that up a little bit like that. Property title. Okay, and then here we have like a price. As you can see, they're showing the location. So we'll add the location as well. Go in here, left click, paste. Bring this down. Current sales properties, location. Adjust this to size 20, nice and, whoops, 204 now. It's 20. We want it to be nice and tight. Much smaller. That's pretty good. Okay, bring that down. We're going to go down to size 18. That's good. We also want to include, bring this up a little bit. So the price, oops, remind me tomorrow. Okay, so let's choose a price as well. So price and a little $sign on there on the side. Okay, let's bring that out. That all right, and then they list there's other smaller section. Copy, paste, move this over, and then this right here is going to be our place to put that other information about the listing. So it's a rental apartment, so we're going to say blank number of rooms. So okay, so current sales listings, properties, number of bedrooms, rooms, okay, and then also list the square meters. Okay, so come on, so insert dynamic data, current sales listings, locations, current sales listings, properties. Let's see, property area meters squared, and do meters squared. Okay, that's fine. Start. We'll test things out in just a minute. Okay, cool. So we've got something on the home page. Let's go ahead and also get rid of this separator right now. And we'll say that we're off to a good start. I'm actually going to bring this up a little bit as well. Okay, awesome. So now the next thing that we're going to do is we need to add some more things to the user interface. I know that we don't want to delay gratification. Like, we want to see what this looks like. We just need to have data in here to be able to view it. And I suppose we could create it right now. Just to show you one example, I'll create it. So let's talk about how we're going to upload stuff. So we're going to build that function into the page of these input forms where people add the actual listing, and that's going to be a different page of the site. In the meantime, just so you have some gratification, and you can see what the app data looks like when it's displayed. We're going to go over to data, app data, go into property. You know what? Yeah, it'll take too much time. We won't worry about that right now. So let's just keep moving with building the next parts of the site, and you'll be able to see it later. If you want to skip ahead and see what it looks like, go ahead, just so you have proof to see that we're actually displaying real data. Go ahead. Now we're going to build the header. So let's go click up here, go over to header, and now we're going to create this section of the site. So this top part right in here. So, all right, what are we going to have in here? So first of all, let's just double click on the outside, remove the background style, remove the flat color, just none for background style. This button itself, we don't need that link. Let's just delete that. Click on text, we'll add text here. And we will call this Mykolaiv property network. You can call yours whatever you want. Remove the style, size 24. That's pretty good size. Bring that out. Property network, I just like that. Okay, change the color to white. All right, now let's go back over to the index page. That'll be indexed for you. So actually, I'll adjust that right now too. So don't worry about what I'm doing here. I'm just making this page the home page. There we go. Okay. So you don't need to do that. Your page is already on the home. Okay, so click on header, drag out the header onto the page. And okay, we can see it says Mykolaiv property network. That looks kind of nice. For sale, rentals, agents. Now let's just draw. What do we want to have? Well, we want to have this list of property button. We definitely want to have that on the page. So go back to the header. Let's add a button to visual elements. Drag it out to about like right there. Move it on over. Let's change the color to danger, success. I don't like that. Okay, edit style. Get rid of the bold. And let's say, what did they say? It says list a property. So we're going to say list a property. All right, move it on over a little bit. Center vertically. Okay, let's see what that looks like again. So go back to index, list a property. That's a fine color. I think the green looks okay. If you want to make yours orange like that, you can do that. Then this login section here, we will create that real quick. So let's go back in here. So let's actually move this over a little bit like that. Let's add a text for login and sign up. So go over here, open up the elements tree as well. So we're going to see, click on here, click on that little plus. Let's see what else we have in here. So, okay, let's delete this stuff right in here. We don't want this. So click delete the group logged in, click on this, it'll appear, delete that as well. Now we're going to build our sign up. Okay, sign up, we're going to say remove the style, center that text, bring the size up to like 16, let's do 15. Okay, change the color to something like blue. That's okay. Blue, kind of like that. underline. It's not so essential. Okay, there we go. Okay, center vertically. Sign up. And then, whoops, there we go. So I just copied and pasted sign up. So again, click there, left click copy, left click paste. Call this one login. Let's also adjust this. Let's see, that's pretty good. I like that. I'll add a little shape as well. So we're just gonna add a little line as like a divider between those. So you see I just inch that out a little bit. You can adjust the dimensions right down here to change the width to really small. So like width or 3 or 2. And change the color to similarly like a kind of a dark blue color. Let's change this width to, whoops, to, how's that? Yeah, okay, just like that. There we go. All right, let me test this out, see what this looks like. All right, so that looks pretty nice. I like that. That's a good start. And we'll add more. What are these issues in here? So, okay, let's just go ahead and, whoa, oh, this is on a different page. I'm gonna go ahead and just adjust this really quick. Don't worry about what I'm doing here. This is old stuff really quick. It's only gonna take 2 seconds. So there we go. Okay, so it's going back to our page. Okay, so we have a really nice setup right here. We have a list of property button, a sign up and login button. And you can already search there for the different types of stuff on the page. We could add this stuff on the top, but I mean realistically, you could literally just search it right in here. So we'll add 2 buttons just to make it really simple. It's gonna be for sale and for rent. So okay, so we're gonna have another button here. Let's see, we'll draw out the text, double click on the text, we'll say for sale, and remove style again, center this, change it to like 15. It's pretty good. Whoops. Change it to 15, bring this down a little bit. Let's see, left click this and group this into a group and draw this out. The reason that we're grouping this into a group is we're gonna add something where basically it just appears like there's just text on the page, but then once someone hovers over this area right here, it's gonna change the color of it. So it's just like it does right here. And this isn't super hard to do, to have that kind of style where it changes like that. So we'll show you how to do that. So it's just this color to white, just like the other area right in here, for sale. Move that over a little bit, for sale. So copy this group. Well, actually, no, we'll wait and do that in just a sec. So, okay, group for sale. So we're gonna call this group for sale. Make sure it's a fixed width group. Go into the conditionals and say, so say I click on the group, go to conditional, and we wanna say when this group is hovered, change the background style to flat color, change the background color to white, and then similarly we're going to go down to this text and say when group for sale is hovered, this font color is going to be black. Whoops. Okay, and now we can test this out in just a moment. Let's go back to the index page real quick. Let's update this page. And let's see. Whoa. Oh my gosh. All right. Preview. There we go. Okay. Beautiful. So see, we can see it has that that style like that where it just appears. And then we'll show the pop-up in just a minute as well. So okay. So for sale. Awesome. And let's copy that in just a sec. Okay. Go back to here. For sale. Here's where we're gonna drag this out a little bit, make this a wider, make this longer, and we're gonna have another group. We're just gonna draw this group out on the page and line this up with for sale. Okay, I'm gonna say group for sale options, and the options are gonna be really simple. So let's go to remove this style, background color, flat color. It's gonna be white. And then we're going to have two options, really simple. One is going to be apartments, and the other option, let's go in here. Let's change this to 15. Apartments. And the other option is going to be houses. Houses, let's bring this up a little bit. Okay, bring this up a little bit as well. And let's draw another divider in here. So shape, draw a shape. Okay, drag this out, just like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so then let's left click, group this into a group, drag this group onto the page, drag this group out. So it's the dimensions are the same. Okay, so what are the dimensions on that? They are 326 by 444. So let's go ahead and so actually let me adjust this and center this vertically. Okay, and then we're going to copy this. Actually, just going to delete that real quick. Left click, paste this second group, and drag it down on the page like that. Okay, boom that up a little bit. This group is going to be called houses for sale. This group's going to be called apartments for sale. And we're going to adjust this to say apartments or houses. Whoops, houses. Let's see another thing. So as we click on or go to the different sections, we can see they appear in this kind of gray color. So I like that. We're going to add that really quickly as well. So we're going to say when this group is hovered, background style is going to be flat color. Background color is going to be this just a light gray like that. So EB, that's probably good. Do the same thing again here when this group is hovered. Background style, flat color, background color. That's the same EB. And then also we'll do this as well. So let's say when group apartments for sale is hovered, we'll change the font color to like a blue. So let's go with like a blue like that. It's a little probably too dark. Okay. 263.8 AD. So okay, similarly down here, when group houses for sale, let's change this to houses for sale. Yeah, so when group houses for sale is hovered, we're going to change the font color to that same font, which is 2638 AD. Okay, so 263. You can see how if you wanted to, you can spend a ton of time on the design and getting that right. We're not going into immense details here. We just want to have the have it looking generally kind of nice. Okay, so that's a good start. Now let's add one other thing. So group for sale options. We want to click on that. So okay, so let me draw this out a little bit. So click on group for sale options. Open up the pop-up. Make this element fixed width. This element is not visible on page load conditions. Okay, so when this group is hovered or group for sale is hovered, this element is visible. Okay, and let's test this out now real quick. See how does that look. All right, it's a decent start. I kind of want to get rid of that blue, but you guys get the idea how we can change the color. So that's a good example for you just for later if you do want to adjust that. And the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that it's lined up to the same location here. So the way we're going to do that, as in this, the edge of this drop down is lined up right here with this button. So to do that, we're going to left click, group these elements into a group. So now we have a group. It's going to be below the main group here. So let's check. I just want to see. Yeah, so keep dragging this all the way out. So it's the same width. And we're going to say group drop down options. and by default, this make this element fixed width, and we'll say we will leave this element visible. Let's see. Let's bring that up a little bit like that. We'll say this element is visible on page load. See, collapse the element's height when it's hidden, and say this element is not visible on page load conditions. And similarly, we're going to have when, let's see, when group for sale is, when this group is hovered, a group for sale is hovered, or a group for sale options is hovered. So we're going to set the conditions for when this is visible. Just a minute. Okay. Bring that up a little bit. And we'll say it's not visible on page load. Okay, now let's test it out and see how this looks. Did we get it lined up? It's not appearing yet. So let's make sure when group for sale is hovered, or group, this element becomes, whoops, this element is visible. There we go. We need to adjust that. There we go. So it's lined up really nice. So the next thing we're going to do in here is we want to also ensure that that stays white when we change there. So in order to do that, we're just going to go back here to the group for sale and say when this group is hovered, or when group for sale options is hovered. Group for sale options is hovered. And that should keep that looking white. Yeah, one more thing. So we also want to adjust this when group for sale is hovered, or group for sale options is hovered. Let's go back here, test real quick, and beautiful. That's looking really nice. I like that. We want to add one other thing as well, which should just be, well, no, we'll leave it. That's pretty fine. I say we can add a. We'll add it just because it'll look nicer. So we're gonna add another little shape in here, which is gonna be just a little gray section that goes across the length of the for sale. And let me see what that little, let's see if I can, let's go down to group, drop down options, group for sale. Let's see, I just want to see that shape B. So, okay, so it's DE, width 2. So, okay, so we'll DE, width 2. Okay, let me see what that looks like. Yeah, that's I suppose that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. We could drag it out. We'll drag it all the way out across the page. So, yeah. Okay. Beautiful. There we go. So now we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to copy this and say the for rent area. We're also going to draw that onto the page. So we're going to copy this and say, all right, now the next one's going to be for rent. And then that's really going to be it. So we're just going to have these two sections. So for sale and for rent. For rent, draw out the area in here and group for sales options. Okay, so next, group for sale options, copy this and paste it. And let's get rid of this, hide that real quick. Group for sale options, I'm going to make that, whoops. Group for sale options. We really want to bring this up. Let me just bring that up. Okay, bring that down. I'm just going to adjust a few things here. For sale options, let's adjust this down. Bring this over. There we go. And this shouldn't say for sale. This should now say for rent. Okay. And it's similarly going to be apartments and houses. Okay, this is going to be for rent options. Okay, and this is called group for rent. Okay, when this group is hovered, or group for rent options is hovered. Similarly, go down here, group for rent is hovered, or group for rent options is hovered. Similarly in here, when this group is hovered, that's okay. Okay, apartments for rent. say this houses for rent, and we'll leave that alone. For rent options, or say group for rent is hovered. Okay, so there we go. So now we got this next component in here. Let's drag this back up to the page and test it out. And so we should have two fully set ups. All right, that's nice. So we have these two areas in here as well. So awesome. Now we've built the header. So next what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the footer on the page. We're going to build that out as well. And another point here, do we want this header to be floating group? We don't want the header to be a floating group. So we'll adjust that now as well. And what I mean is that it's not going to type of element, just call it a regular group. Okay, let's test that out as well. So that means that it should just remain at the top now. Whoops. That's strange. I don't know why I just did that. Let's go back to index. Let me test this again. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so you just want to change that to a regular group so it stays on the top, because that's how we want it for right now. Oh, that button looks really good. Awesome. So we have a pretty good start right now. We'll add some more things. As I said, we're gonna add the footer to the page as well. So let's go over to the footer. So click up here on the top, go to footer. Let's adjust this footer and make it, how's real estate review have it? Theirs is white. All right, we'll leave ours to be white as well. And we'll just say Nikolaev property. You're basically just gonna edit the information in here really briefly. Property listing, incorporated. Okay, I'll click here, remove the style. Let's remove that bold area there. That's good. Okay, let's remove that built without clothes section. Drag this out a little bit. Just make some cosmetic adjustments in here. Bring that out. Terms and privacy and copyright. Again, I'm just going to write the name of our company in here. So Nikolaev Property Listings Incorporated. That was in 2020. Okay, also going to adjust this size down a little bit. Okay, bring this down a little more. Okay, almost there. All right, bring this over. Center vertically. Property, let's say listing. Incorporated listings. All right, and that's fine. We can adjust these other things later. They are less important to the overall scope of our project for the moment. So let's adjust this size down a little bit like that. Back to the home page again, and we're gonna go down to reusable elements, footer, drag the footer out on the page, plop it right there, and there you go. Just like that, we have. I'm gonna make it a little bigger as well, like that. We have our footer as well on the page. Awesome, that's pretty good. I'm gonna bring this up as well, just because I know some other things in here we don't need to be quite as wide, so that's pretty good. Also gonna get rid of the houses for rent. We're just gonna have houses for sale. I just feel like listing only 3 parts. If you want to list 4, you can. All the principles that you're learning here is going to allow you to add that back if you want. But we just want to keep our home page nice and kind of clean. So as you can see, I'm just cleaning up the page here a little bit and bringing this stuff up. Awesome. There we go. Okay, so let's test out the page again. And boom, we have the footer in there as well. So we're off to a decent start. You can add a button down there. So list a property. Yeah, we'll add a list a property button as well, just to keep things kind of spicy. And we'll edit that later. So go over to button, drag this button out on the page, left click, center horizontally, make that fixed width. We'll call this button list a property. Success button, remove the style, get rid of that. Let's actually change the color of this to something like they have. So it's kind of like a orange button almost. It's yeah, an orange button. It's almost too red there, so yeah, just adjust that. Just kind of play around with this a little bit till we get a color that we like. Yeah, it's kind of like a light color like that. Yeah, that's good. And then when this group is hovered, change that darker. Button is pressed, clickable. Okay, there we go. So I just changed the color in here real quick. Center this horizontally again, make sure it's centered. Test it out. All right, that's fine. Okay. Awesome. So we have a really good start now. We're going to add some more in the next video and keep building. Nice job, guys. If you followed along everything so far, you're doing great.